Hey there, Mr. Cornthal.
Hey there, Mrs. Cornthal.
Welcome to A Day of History. Hey, I want to do something before we start.
Okay.
I'm going to try and say the Pledge of Allegiance, but I'm going to skip a part.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
And I want you to listen to see if you can see what part I missed. Ready?
Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Whoa, you forgot one important thing.
I bet you heard it, boys and girls. Well, here's the thing. I actually didn't forget a part. Do you know if you were a little boy or a little girl in school in 1950 or 1951 or 1952 or 1953 or anything before that,
Okay.
that's how you said the Pledge of Allegiance. What part do we say now that wasn't in there before?
The most important part, one nation under God.
Yes. So, fun fact, Dwight Eisenhower, who is going to be the star of our chapter today in American Heritage, he actually is responsible. He was the president responsible for putting one nation under God in our Pledge of Allegiance. So even now, it's very hard for me to say it without one nation under God. And if you want to, you can actually try and say it without it and quiz your mom or dad and say, hey, what part did I miss? So that was not added till the Pledge of Allegiance till 1954. So with that,
I know that. Okay.
let's jump into our chapter. Make sure you're open in your book to page 400. We're out of the 300s.
Yay.
We're in the 400s. Can you believe how much we've learned this year? All right. So this is Dwight D. Eisenhower. See, D is his middle initial. I'm not sure. We'll find out if we know what it's for. This is chapter 40, page 400. And he was born in 1890 and died in 1969. So some of you are like, I already got that math. Try it.
Oh, no.
No calculator. Mr. Cornthal, come
no,
on.
I can't do that.
He is calculator dependent, boys and girls.
Don't be calculator dependent. I can't get
You
from
could
it.
still be successful, though. He's doing a good job at his job. Come on, figure it out. 1890 to 1900 is how many years?
10.
Okay, plus 69.
79.
Yes! He lived to be 79 years old. Okay, so let's start right there. Did you begin your day with the Pledge of Allegiance? What we do in our class, right? Thanks to President Dwight Eisenhower, you said the words, one nation under God. Before the year 1954, our pledge did not mention God. Because President Eisenhower believed it was important, he signed it into law. 2 years later, President Eisenhower signed another law that made our national motto, "In God We Trust." So quick math again, Mr. Cornthal.
Okay.
If 1954 was the year he made one nation under God in our pledge, and it was 2 years later that he made our motto, "In God We Trust," what year did he make our motto, "In God We Trust"?
1956.
Good job. Okay, so before we turn the page, let's look at President Eisenhower's lifetime. So a lot of the people that we're studying right now lived at the turn of the century. So every 100 years is a century. So he lived from the 1800s to the 1900s. When he was 10 years old, it became 1900. So he lived from 1890. He did not live in the Civil War, but he lived through World War I and World War II. And we'll see how he gets involved in those as we head into our chapter.
Cool.
Okay. Popcorn, Mr. Cornthal.
Here we go. Dwight David Eisenhower
There it is. The
was
D is for
born
David.
on October 14th, 1890 in Denton, Texas. He was the third of 7 sons in his family. Mr. and Mrs. Eisenhower raised their boys to work hard and to respect others. They often called Dwight and his older brother Ike, let me reread that. They often called Dwight and his older brother Ike, which was a nickname for Eisenhower. His older brother was Big Ike, and Dwight was Little Ike. I get it. That nickname would stick with Dwight for the rest of his life. As a boy, Dwight helped his family with chores. He fed the chickens, milked the cows, gathered wood for the fire, and worked in the garden. Dwight found a way to make extra money by selling vegetables from the garden to people in their town.
Awesome. So, quick review.
Yep.
What were some of the jobs that he had as a little boy? So if you're complaining about your chores, you probably don't have as many.
Right.
What did he do? I know Presley does some of these chores.
Yeah.
What did he do?
He fed the cows and milked the chicken. He fed the chickens, milked the cows.
And
he gathered firewood.
yeah, sure. And then how did he make some extra money?
How did he make some extra money? He would work in the garden. No.
He would by selling vegetables from the garden to the people in the town. Right. Awesome. So here we go. I'm going to read a definition, and you are going to tell me what it is. The word is. Are you ready? A short phrase that is easy to remember, used for advertising. It is a
slogan.
Slogan, and I bet, like "Just Do It" was a slogan for Nike. Yeah. What's another slogan?
Why can't we
Isaac, is there a slogan for Apple? I think it's just their logo.
I think it's just their logo, which is...
So I'm trying to think of different ones off the top of my head. So anyways, you can think of a company that you like and see if they have a slogan, something they say about their company. Like Nike is one I think of, like "Just Do It."
Yeah.
Okay, what is an organization effort, an organized effort to win an election. What is that? Go.
Campaign.
A campaign. This one should be easy, especially for Matthew.
Okay.
He probably won't even need to look at his book. National Aeronautics and Space Administration, a government agency that studies science and technology related to air and space. Go.
I know this one because my dad indirectly worked for this company. They're called NASA.
Yes, that's true. Fun fact, I think I already told you, but Mr. Cornfell's dad helped design the cooling ducts on the Discovery.
On the space shuttle.
On the space shuttle. Okay, last but not least, the general in World War II and the 34th president of the United States. Dwight. It's not two people, that's one. He was a general in World War II, and he was the 34th president.
Dwight David Eisenhower.
Yes, and before we turn the page, why was his nickname Ike? His name's Dwight, and why would his brother have the same nickname?
Yeah.
Ike was for what? I'm asking you.
Oh, me? Because his parents gave him that as a nickname, and he was Little Ike.
Based off what?
Oh.
Was it his first name?
Last name.
Yeah, last name. So Cornthal, like cornball, corny, corn. My friend Tiffany goes, corn. That's my nickname. Corn. She doesn't even use my name other than that. It's always corn. Hi, corn.
And I'm
How's it
corn.
going, corn?
I'm man corn.
He's man corn.
Then we have baby corn.
So it's like Big Ike and Little Ike.
Yeah.
I'm corn, and that's man corn.
I'm man corn.
All right, turn the page. 402. We're at the top of the page. Dwight's favorite subject in school was history. He enjoyed reading about wars and battles. Dwight wanted to know the details of these battles and why they happened. He studied the lives of important leaders in history. Some of them became heroes to Dwight. In high school, Dwight was a good athlete. He enjoyed playing basketball and football. He liked to be outdoors. Hiking and camping with his brothers were some of his favorite things to do. Fun. Off to college. What do you think this is going to be about? His college years, right? Yeah. Okay, after graduating from high school, Dwight worked at a creamery and also became a fireman. Do you know what a creamery is?
Place where they process milk, maybe?
Probably. Maybe ice cream too.
Ooh.
Maybe. But probably dairy for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, Dwight wanted to go to college, but he did not have the money to do that. Instead, he helped pay for his brother's college education. That's amazing. So he sacrificed his own desire for college, worked, and then contributed towards his brother's education. Later, he was accepted to West Point, where his education was paid for by the military. So West Point was a military academy, and if you signed up to be in the military, you could get education for free by serving our country. Okay, this was the same training school for Army officers that Robert E. Lee and U.S. Grant attended. So some of you were thinking, I know that sounds familiar, but why? Because we already read about it. So Robert E. Lee and U.S. Grant also attended West Point Military Academy. Okay, no one imagined at the time that Dwight Eisenhower would someday be a great leader of the United States military. So when he was 10, was he thinking, I want to be president?
I'm going to be president.
No, he probably wasn't thinking that at all. He was probably thinking, how much can I sell this corn for to help make money? Okay, Dwight Eisenhower graduated from West Point and was sent to Fort Sam Houston in San Antonio, Texas. San Antonio is the city, comma, Texas is the state. You see that? And they are both proper nouns. And San Antonio is also a what? Compound noun. Two parts put together to make one noun. Okay, while in San Antonio, Dwight Eisenhower met a young lady named Mamie Dowd. Mamie Dowd. That's a great name. I wouldn't name my daughter that, just so you know. She was talkative and loved to have fun. That reminds me of some of the girls in our class. She was quiet. He was quiet. Although they were very different, they loved each other and decided to get married. They had two sons, Dowd and John.
So they named her last name.
So they took her last name and named their son Dowd. That's great. Sadly, bummer. Sadly, Dowd died when he was only 3.
That's really sad.
I'm thankful that we live in a time with better medical care than they did back then. Okay, Mr. Cornthal, the war years.
Mr. Eisenhower served his country in 2 very important wars called What?
Did you notice that is in italics?
Oh, yeah. So should I reread it again with more excitement?
Yes.
Okay, let's
Here
do
we
it.
go.
Mr. Eisenhower served his country in 2 very important wars called World Wars.
And here's easy to remember. The first one he served in was World War I, and the second one was World War
2.
Genius.
And we're gonna
Okay,
find
keep
out.
going.
A world war involves many powerful nations all over the world. World War I and World War II, it's a tongue twister, were fought to protect countries that could lose their freedom. The United States joined with other countries to defend that freedom. During World War I, Major Dwight Eisenhower trained soldiers to go to battle.
Wait, what does that mean, Major Dwight Eisenhower?
Oh, he was a high-ranking officer.
So major is actually... So you have like principal, vice principal. You have different positions in companies. So major is a level you have an officer in the military.
Yep.
Okay, go.
Okay, where did I leave off?
So we're in the middle of that first paragraph. Major Dwight Eisenhower trained soldiers to go to battle. Go.
Okay. In World War I, General Eisenhower...
2.
Whoa, in World War II, thank you. World War II, General Eisenhower became the top commanding officer for the United States.
There's another italics, boys and girls. Did you hear it? General Eisenhower became the top commanding officer for the United States. That's a big deal. Keep going.
On June 6, 1944, also known as D-Day, he led over 150,000 troops into Normandy, France, to fight German troops. This battle led to the end of World War II in Europe. When General Eisenhower returned to the United States, he was honored as a hero.
So pause. Remember, we are at the time period where there was actually cameras to document some of these moments. Right. So this is the D-Day invasion at Normandy. See the beach is there in Normandy, down below in the bottom of your page. And so General Eisenhower, that's a picture of him as a general, was a commanding general at this battle. And this was the turning point in the war that ultimately led to the end of the war. So that was a big deal.
Huge.
And this is what got him huge acclaim.
Yep. In 1948, Dwight Eisenhower left the Army and became president of Columbia University in New York City, where he served 5 years. Near the end of his time at Columbia, he was asked a very important question.
Okay, so the president of a college or a university is kind of like their big principal, someone who runs the school. Okay, so he did that for 5 years. Now here is exciting. Near the end, I love when a writer does this. Now listen to this at the end of the page. Near the end of his time at Columbia, he was asked a very important question, and it leaves the reader going like, "What is it? I don't know. Let's turn the page.
Let's go."
Here we go.
The page turner. That's where they come up with that.
Yeah, that's where they come up with that. I like Ike. Did you see our buttons?
Cool.
These are campaign buttons for Dwight Eisenhower, and look, they match our book. Do you see it right there at the top of the page? I like Ike. Did you see? It rhymes and it actually ends the spelling. It's very clever. We'll see what he did with this. Here we go. This is the question that we've all been anticipating. Will you run for the office of President of the United States? So he was president of a school, but the United States is a very different job. Yeah. Dwight Eisenhower said, yes. He resigned from his job at the school, it doesn't say that, but at the university, and began planning his election campaign. Now remember, that was when you, but the campaign is actually what you do to let people know that you're running for president, say, vote for me, vote for me. He used his boyhood nickname in his campaign. The slogan, I like Ike, was seen on signs, billboards, and campaign buttons that people wore. It was also used on the first television advertisement for a person running for president of the United States. So when, just like us, boys and girls, like I just remember, just do it Nike, there's other slogans that you have in your mind. So when people running for office come up with a little slogan, they just go, oh, I like Ike, and it just gets stuck in your head, and you're like, oh, who is that Ike guy? Maybe I should research him. Would I vote for him? Would you vote for him? Let's check it out. So when you get these little things stuck in people's head, then they actually research it, and then they go, oh, well, I like Ike. Let's see if I like Ike. Okay, Dwight Eisenhower won that election, and as well as the next one, because remember, you can serve for 2 terms, and that's 4 years plus another 4 years. So it says he served as president for 8 years. That's a maximum for a president voted in. Sidebar, it can go a little bit over if they were vice president and the president dies, and then but you can only be elected for president for 8 years. He accomplished many great things while in office. This is big. Are you ready? Huge. What are the things that he did? Mr. Cornthal, read the first one.
Oh, exciting.
With passion.
He signed into law in the 1957 Civil Rights Act that protected African Americans' right to vote.
Yes, because remember, slavery ended, but there's still not equality going on. There's lots of things. So at the time, do you remember African Americans were still trying to earn the same rights and freedoms as everybody else. So things were not that great still if you were African American, but they were making progress. And one of the things that was big was in 1957, Eisenhower actually signed into law 1957, the Civil Rights Act that protected African Americans' right to vote. So we take it for granted, but there was a time in our country that if you were a certain race, if you were a woman, like you couldn't vote in America. So that was a big deal. Dwight Eisenhower.
Okay.
Ta-da! Thank you, Ike.
Next one. He created the interstate highway system throughout the United States.
Okay, so we drive to California and we take I-5.
I-5.
When you say
It means?
I means interstate. So at one point, the highway interstate system wasn't here. So interstate means it goes from state to state. It's not just stuck in Oregon or it's not just stuck in Washington. It goes between the states. So the I-5, you can go all the way from Canada all the way down to Mexico from the I-5, the interstate highway system. So the interstate highway system was created by
Ike.
Also known as
Dwight D. Eisenhower.
Fabulous. Next.
Okay, here we go. He began the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, also known as NASA, which started our country's flight into space.
Hooray!
Cool. More? Next one?
Yep, next one.
He added the state of Alaska and Hawaii to the United States. I really like Hawaii.
Quiz.
Yes.
Prior to Dwight Eisenhower, how many states did we have, Mr. Cornthal?
So we got -2.
Okay, well, first of all, boys and girls, how many states do we have right now? They match the number of stars on our flag. 50. Nifty United States. Before, it was 2 less than that. 50 minus 2 is what?
48.
Yeah.
I can do math.
He can do math. So, prior to Dwight Eisenhower, we were only the 48. 50 nifty 48 states.
Yeah, it doesn't.
No, not as good.
Yeah.
And now we have Alaska and Hawaii. The whole time you've been born, the whole time I've been born, we've had Alaska and Hawaii. But prior to Dwight Eisenhower, guess what? Alaska and Hawaii were not part of the United States.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
All right. Do you want to go take over?
I would love to.
Great.
After serving as president, Dwight Eisenhower retired to his farm in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, where he enjoyed being with his family. He spent much of his time there writing books and painting. In 1969, Dwight Eisenhower died after a long illness. He is remembered as a great general and president.
Excellent.
So he died before we were born.
What year did he die?
1969.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
He died 10 years prior to my birth.
And 15. 14.
What?
14.
No, you're 4 years older than me. So 10
Yeah,
minus
it was 48
4,
states.
you were 6.
Now it's 50.
You were 6.
I wasn't 6 years old. I was born
It was 6 years before. Sorry, no. It was 6 years before you were born. It was 10 years before I was born. I wasn't 10.
Yeah.
Don't think I'm that old.
No.
As president, we're on the top of page 405. Remember, this is a direct quote. Something he said, either written down or it's documented by someone else, like a direct quote. See we learned about those. As president, Dwight Eisenhower said,
"Without God, there could be no American form of government, nor an American way of life."
Do you agree or why not?
Oh, I absolutely agree.
Yeah, of course. Because, boys and girls, even our standard of right and wrong, if there was no God involved, we could make it up, right?
Right.
But whose standard do we hold?
God's.
With how we treat people.
God's.
With how we love and serve others.
God's.
Yeah. So without God being the center, our America would not succeed.
Nope.
And where we fall is where man's sin, makes things go amok.
Yep.
Before we go
Okay.
to our trivia, our competition check, fun fact. So it barely mentions it at the beginning of the chapter, but you'll have like a million questions on it on your quiz. But here's a fun challenge. Do you remember what our national motto is? It's like our slogan. It's what we live for. It's like what America stands for. Mr. Cornthal.
In God we trust.
In God we trust. Now, Mr. Cornthal has a really cool coin.
Yep. So I don't know. It might be hard to see this, but
it should focus.
Yeah, there we
Turn
go.
Turn it a little bit the other way.
Okay. So this.
Or you can actually get closer.
Can I get there? I don't know if you. Okay, good. I think that's good enough. But
no, it's still focusing on your face.
Okay.
So put it closer.
I'm gonna put my head right here.
You should be able to.
Anyways, there's that. That's the front of it. Can you guys see that year on the very bottom?
What does it say? Just tell them.
1900.
1900.
So it's a 120-year-old coin. And then on the back, see if I can get this right, see if you guys can read that. On the very top.
Let's see if I can force it to focus. It doesn't want to. Right here, though.
Yep. It says, "In God we trust."
Yes.
120-year-old coin.
Now, Mr. Cornthal, that's weird because Dwight Eisenhower didn't make that the motto until 1950.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, 56.
Okay.
So why is that on there, you think?
I think from the founding fathers, they wanted to make sure it was there.
Now, we'll get to that in a second. Also on the coins is E pluribus unum. If you do a coin hunt, I don't know if you can see that. No, probably can't. Right there it says E pluribus unum. And on the other side, it says, "In God we trust." This is just a regular old nickel.
You guys can grab a coin and look at it.
Yeah, please look through all your coins. Old coins, young coins. Here's a regular. This is a
pretty new one.
It is new, but it's supposed to look old. In the top part, it says "E pluribus unum."
Mm-hmm.
That's Latin. And then on this side, on the top where Lincoln is, it says "In God we trust." Okay, so go through and look at your coins. I want you to try and find two things: "E pluribus unum" and "In God we trust." Fun fact: the reason why it's on some of the coins, like Mr. Cornthal's coins from 1900, is because we had unofficial models. So they weren't declared mottos, not models.
Mottos.
A motto. So the unofficial motto of the United States, besides "In God we trust," was "E pluribus unum," which means out of many, one, and that was Latin. So they still have that on the coins because that was a traditional motto of the United States. But our official motto, declared, like written down, it says, what is the motto of the United States is "In God we trust." Now they were using it before, just like "E pluribus unum," but
it
nothing,
wasn't official.
Nothing was official.
Nothing was official. Okay.
So it was not our official model.
Motto,
M-O-T-T-O, our official motto until Dwight Eisenhower. And so here's another one.
Oh, yeah.
This is probably easier to see. So go on a money hunt. "In God we trust." It's there.
Find it. It's there.
And try and say the Pledge of Allegiance without "one nation under God." It's really hard. And if you do get it mastered, try and challenge your family to see what they left out.
But don't practice it too much.
No, because then you'll get confused. But so go on a money hunt.
Money hunt.
Try and fight "In God we trust." Next time, if you are on just driving around with your family, I don't know why, look for any interstate signs. Go, "Hey, I know who started the interstate highway system.
Yeah.
Who was it?"
Yeah. Dwight
D.
Eisenhower.
Eisenhower.
Motto.
And one other fun thing.
Yes.
If you have time, those of you who are really crafty and really artsy, take a circle. All you have to do is take a can, like a can from your pantry, like a can of beans or whatever, chili, I don't care. Trace the can on a piece of paper. You make your own campaign button, okay? If you are running for president, or if you are running for we did this in our classroom last year, or if you were running for the president of our class, right? What would your little motto or slogan be on your little button? And then if you want to, you can wear your button to Google or to
Zoom.
Yes, thanks, to Zoom. And we can share our little mottos. And yours might be like, I'm trying to think, books for Bjorga. Like your whole motto is you want more books in the classroom and you're going to fight for more books. I don't know, whatever it is.
Mine would be corn. Vote for corn.
Oh, that's corny. Corn jokes never die. All right.
Okay.
So now we get to review 405. Do you want to read the questions this time?
Yeah,
See if I can answer it.
Sure. Okay, here we go. You guys ready?
I'm ready. I'm going to try not to look.
Here we go. What words were added to the Pledge of Allegiance while Dwight Eisenhower was president?
You know what? I don't think it was the whole "one nation under God." I think it was just the "under God" part. That's why it was hard to say.
Yeah, okay, good.
But anyways, it was the "under God."
Good.
Like "one nation Under God.
Under God.
Before it was just one nation, indivisible. That's why I couldn't say it. So it's one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
One nation,
The only
under
thing
God.
that keeps us united is our God.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just one nation, indivisible. It was one nation under God, indivisible, because God is the uniter.
Yes. Okay.
Under God.
This is question 2. What words that President Eisenhower signed into law became our national motto?
I'm going to answer this with some money.
Money.
Ready? In God we trust.
Nailed it. Okay. Question 3. Which famous military academy did Dwight Eisenhower attend for his college education?
I'm trying to point west, but I don't
Yeah,
know
that's
if
west. That's west. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
west, but I don't know if it'll show in the video.
Oh.
I'll go like this. There's a W, West Point.
West Point?
I don't know. It's West Point, which a lot of our presidents went to, because if they were in the military prior, a lot of them went to West
Sure,
Point because it was a military academy. Go.
Great. Number 4.
I'm on a roll.
What program to study space began while Eisenhower was president?
4 letters, starts with an N. National NA Association of National Aeronautics and Space Association and NASA. I know it's NASA. I'm
NASA.
trying to remember what it's for. National Aeronautics and Space Association. Mr. Cornfell's
We
going to
can
fact
turn
check.
back. Let's fact
Careful,
check
don't
here.
break my book.
I don't want to break the book. So it stands for National Aeronautics and Space Administration.
Administration. I always say association.
And that was on page 404.
Matthew, I bet you beat me on that one.
Nice. Okay, here we go. Number
Okay.
5. Name the 2 important wars in which Dwight Eisenhower served. I don't have to say this. This is the tongue twister.
1 and 2 wars. Which were they?
Ah.
They were all over the world. World War I.
Yep.
And World War II.
Man, I struggle saying those. I don't know.
I know, it's tricky sometimes.
Okay, number 6.
I'm ready.
How many years did Dwight Eisenhower serve as president for the United States?
Oh, he won his first election and served 4 years. And then he won again and served another 4 years. And I know 4 and 4 is 8.
8.
He served for 8 years.
Yes. Okay.
Awesome. He got a lot done in 8 years.
Number 7. What states were added while Eisenhower was president?
I know one of them. Aloha, oi, I want to go to Hawaii. And then Alaska. Our kids actually were supposed to go to Alaska this summer on a cruise with their grandparents, but that got canceled. Alaska is one of them. Thankfully, we have Alaska because we get a lot of oil from Alaska.
Yep.
And Aloha, we got
Aloha.
Hawaii. So before it was 48, but those made our other 2 states. 48 plus 2 is 50. We have 50 nifty United States. So now that we have Aloha, Hawaii, and Alaska.
Hey, I just wanted to say, do you guys like my presidential haircut? Everyone thinks I'm going to the barber, but guess who's cutting my hair?
Mrs. Cornthal is cutting.
I may never go
Mr.
to a barber
Cornthall's hair
again.
and Fauna's hair,
I don't
just for
think
fun
I'm going to go
fact.
to a barber again. Look how good that is. I mean,
You should see the back.
I should run for president.
Look at that.
My
Like,
neck.
seriously.
I should run for
Mrs.
president.
Cornthall's got skills.
He's got skills,
But he
man.
doesn't. He never tips me. He doesn't make my lattes. I make them myself.
Here is a 120-year-old coin.
Yes, we looked
There's
this
your
up.
tip.
Wasn't this more like
40
$89?
Oh, yeah,
or
yeah. I
something?
think maybe $90 or something like that.
Yeah, that's a good tip. I'll
That's
take
a
it.
good tip.
All right, boys and girls, go on a money hunt. Make your own motto button. We'll see who we vote. Maybe we'll actually have a fake vote and be like, which motto do we like the best on Zoom?
Yeah.
I might even have Abigail join me and pick, so that way I'm not biased.
Yeah.
Okay, so go on a money hunt. E pluribus unum. That was our old motto.
Right.
That was not official. And then in God we trust. Look for it everywhere. And that's it. I will see you later.
Bye, guys.